this particular event here, it basically gives you the challenge you need to do is topple over as many dominoes as possible. They're just stood up in the way that dominoes are. As you can come on here, and basically you need to just smash into them. Now, an easy way to think about that would be they're all stood there on the plinth, and you need a big heavy vehicle, and you can fly into them. But once you hit them, it will take the control off you. And so once they're toppling, that's it, and they'll all knock each other over and fall out. But it's difficult to knock very many over in that method. So somebody actually came up with this in tests just a couple of weeks ago.
It was actually we demoed this at Leipzig, and up until that point nobody on the team had figured out a way to get the perfect score on this challenge. And so me and one of the testers spent about 3 hours one night just playing the same challenge again and again, kind of having a bit of a competition who could get there first. Unfortunately for me, he did beat me. But I nicked his vehicle to show it at Leipzig, and we kind of
traded it. Traded the blueprint. So that's something you could do. I mean, like Neil just said, this was actually created by somebody else, but he thoughtfully gifted the blueprint to Neil. So Neil was like, for what? An ice cream.
So basically, it's got these 4 rockets on, which is enabling it to fly.
So the approaches before were to build sort of a big kind of heavy flying vehicle and hit them. If you can hit 2 of these rows at once, you can knock quite a few over. But here, this was quite an unusual approach.
So yeah, as soon as I touch the dominoes, that kind of counts as my turn. So I have to be quite careful here, landing it in the middle. And it's not very easy to fly because it's got way too much power for a sort of flying vehicle. But we do need that power in a second. Now we've managed to land it in, we haven't touched any dominoes, so we're still in complete control. What we can do here is we can actually use the wrench just to manipulate the vehicle and to position it right on that central spot. Now if I press B, I'll actually go into the in-game editor. You can actually edit the vehicle during the challenge. The controls are obviously exactly the same as in the garage. I can't add new components because that would kind of be cheated, but I can actually manipulate the ones that are there, changing the function of the vehicle. So the idea he came up with was that all these rockets that were causing me problems flying, if you spin those on this side, the vehicle will actually behave very differently. And instead of flying, it's now going to spin round. So you see the wheels are all at 90 degrees, but the cool thing that he actually put on it was the 2 gadgets in the middle. And they're the sucker blower again, which are like these large fans. So the concept behind it was that if he could land it in the middle, get this thing to spin around and then blow it with a fan, it would kind of give enough force to sort of blow the dominoes out from the inside out. So as I get in there, again, top right corner, A is on the blower. If I accelerate around, it's now going to spin instead of fly, and if I press A, it's going to blow them over from the inside out. So I didn't quite get all of them, but it is actually possible with the vehicle to get them all down.
So that's an example of a challenge where people can play at their own pace. It's not always about being the fastest or the strongest, and you're able to think there in your own time, because the objective there is as soon as you touch the first domino, that will be kind of your turn. And Neil's able to fly to the middle there, modify what he brought to do the challenge with, and then, well, almost not more.
That's what's cool about the leaderboards, is that you'll be able to go online and see the vehicles that the best players in the world have used. And in our mind, that's kind of quite important, but it's different to other games. I mean, if I was playing a racing game, for example, and I saw the best player in the world do his fastest lap, that's probably not going to help me too much because I'm simply not good enough at the game to do that. Whereas the kind of the skill in our game is the creativity and the building of the vehicle. So maybe if I saw the vehicle that he'd used, like that one, actually doing the challenge, it's not that hard, it's just the thinking of it behind it. And so hopefully, we're really excited to see what people are going to do with the editor, because we're sure that within a week there's going to be people that have come up with way cooler things than we were able to, So that's pretty exciting for us.
There's a test track area as well where you can test your vehicle before you actually perform the challenge if you want to. But what we've found with that as well is that a lot of people, it's kind of a sandboxy gameplay. The game's quite sandboxy gameplay inherently, but with the test track, people have found that it's just a lot of fun to be able to go into it's a test right now, to go into here and just to build up a crazy vehicle and use it in here. For instance, when we opened this up for testing, I was saying a couple of months back, we'd had people build battleships and put them in that water there. People build the Godzilla character that guy in testing built. And all sorts of different crazy things have come out from just allowing people the freedom to position blocks together and rockets etc. as they want to.
And again, that's kind of another sort of multi-layered aspect of the game where there was a point where actually the vehicles were too realistic in that the physics, I mean it uses real life physics, but at one point you kind of needed a degree in engineering to make something fly, which for us was not what we were looking for, because if you're a kid you expect to build a car and then put wings on it and you expect that to fly. Whether it's the best plane you can build or not is not really the point, you expect it to be able to do something.